My nearly adult female uncle, 32, is a mechanic and has a shop. He's taught me everything I know about cars and helps me find cheap beta cars with easy fixes to flip on Craigslist and the marketplace. We've been doing it since I got my permit. Over the last 2 years, I've saved enough money to comfortably attend the local junior college or attend a vocational school. My mum's friend from school was visiting last night with her son, and she and my mum talked about us teens. She has no sense of morality or responsibility, typical old people stuff, and her friend mentioned how her son refuses to pay tithing no matter how much he tries, and my mum told her I always pay tithing, which is supposed to be 10% of your income. I told her that I do not and have never paid tithing. We've never seen eye to eye on this. I believe in the church, but with all the recent news about how much money they have, I 100% believe they don't need my money. She then said she and my dad have been paying it for me, that they log into my account and transfer themselves the money so that they can pay it. I had no idea this was happening. I admit this is partly my fault since I should have noticed, but banking and numbers have never been my strong point, so I relied on my parents to help with my banking most of the time. They're my parents, so I trusted them and didn't think this was something I would ever have to worry about. I shouted at her in front of her friend that she was a thief and had no right to do that. She said she and my dad was doing what was best for me, and I was thinking about my mortal life and they were thinking about my eternal life. They said I would thank her one day and I said I wouldn't, and I would go to the police if they didn't find a way to pay me back. I'm staying at my uncle's place now, but he says I should just let it go, and that money isn't worth sending people to jail over. I'm at a loss. Am I the idiot for going to the police? After looking and doing the math and triple checking everything, I have around $7,000 or $8,000 missing. Wow, last I looked there was a commandment about stealing from other people. They aren't godly if they take your money like that. I wonder what the church would say if you told them that the money you paid to them was actually stolen from you by your parents. Not the idiot, but you might not have legal ground if it's a joint account. Exactly, if their names are in the account, you can't do much about it. In this case, both account holders have equal rights over the money, but as you know, there's no chance of getting your money back from the church. Lesson: when you turn 18, open a sole account at a different bank. That means you need to get a hold of your identity documents. I'm proud of what you've done with your uncle. You earned and saved a lot of money for such a young age. Giving the church money does nothing for your eternal life. I don't know how they think it does. Just remind your parents that the bad place awaits the thief. It was wrong of them to do it. Charity must come from the heart of the one actually giving the charity. You are unaware of it and would have objected had you known. If it were me, I would convert the account into cash, put it in a box, and lock it up at your uncle's business. Since you cannot trust your parents to carry out your wishes in regard to the money, you must do what you can to safeguard it. Also, agree with another person who said you should contact the church to let them know your parents stole this tithing from you. Theft is a sin, if I recall. In the future, please remember that your parents' sense of morals tells them it's okay to steal if it's for something they like. Treat them as such. My sister got engaged 3 weeks ago. After they made the announcement, she asked me to be her maid of honor. Of course, I said I would. But the next day, I changed my mind when I found out what the expectations were. Am I the idiot for doing that? My sister was upfront about everything, but it was too much for me. She's livid that I backed out. I told her I would only attend her wedding, which is up in the air, depending on costs. She says I'm a horrible sister for backing out. This is what my sister and her fiancé are expecting. They are having an engagement celebration at a restaurant. None of the food costs less than €100. This is in addition to bringing them a gift. My sister wants her hen party to be in another country. She suggested Spain or Cyprus. Her fiancé wants something similar for his stag party. My sister expects me and the bridesmaids to pay for her portion of the trip and our own. They're having a joint wedding shower which both wedding parties are expected to plan, host and pay for. This is in addition to the bridal shower that my sister expects her wedding party to plan, host and pay for. They expect gifts to be given at both showers. Both wedding parties must pay for their dresses, tuxedos, shoes, hair, makeup, etc. They aren't having the wedding here, they want a destination wedding. The wedding parties and every other guest will have to pay all the costs of travel, hotels, etc. themselves. The wedding parties are expected to help with wedding things. For wedding gifts, everything in their registry costs at least €150. I read about something that's done sometimes at American weddings. My sister called it a dollar dance. They expect the guests to participate in this because my sister and her fiancé will use it to raise money for their honeymoon. I estimate that being her maid of honour will cost at least 8,000 to 9,500 euros or more. This was just an estimate. Tell me if I'm wrong. I thought the answer was obvious, but some people are aware of all the expectations and are on my sister's side here. My sister is still livid and won't even talk to me, except to argue. The fact that so many people are on her side is giving me pause, and I'm rethinking my original position. Even my other sisters are split on what we think. Am I the idiot because I backed out of being my sister's maid of honour after agreeing to do it? Not the idiot, obviously. And holy mother of God, that is so much money. Unless all these friends are crypto-billionaires or Wall Street tycoons, the number alone is absurd. Most American weddings, by the way, do not include a dollar dance, except in some geographic regions and cultures, in which case, yeah, you get lots of cash at your wedding, but you're also expected to pay it forward with lots of cash at all future weddings. Fun fact, statistically, the more the wedding costs, the shorter the marriage. Interestingly, all these showers, hen, stag nights, dollar dances, etc. are free for the happy couple, so the couple is quite keen to freeload. Wow, that is beyond extravagant, and I'm honestly very surprised that your sister seems to have a list of several people who can afford this. She was clear and upfront about her expectations, and you told her that you felt like you were not up to the task immediately. Whether it's too much to plan and deal with or too much to spend doesn't matter. It's your choice just as much as it's hers. Of course, she should be disappointed, but she cannot be mad when her demand list is that obnoxious. This is a money grab, not a wedding. Tell whichever sisters that are backing the bride that they can be the maid of honour. Get promoted to maid of honour at the low price of 9,000 euros. It's a bargain. That is just a ridiculous amount to expect from others. If you want a big fancy wedding, a honeymoon, etc., then save up for it and pay for it yourself. I wouldn't be surprised if everyone else is mad you're not the maid of honour anymore, because now they're going to be asked and they don't want the responsibilities that come with it either. They're only siding with the bride because they'd have to foot the bill. Is she offering a refund when they divorce after neither can get the other one to finance everything? Someone needs to bring her back down to earth. I'm vegan for my own personal ethical reasons. I have no problem with other people eating meat. I've been watching my nephews on the weekends for the last few months to help my brother out. He and his wife work opposite schedules during the week and barely see each other, so the boys get dropped off with me on Friday night and get picked up on Sunday night. I feed them on Saturday and up until an afternoon snack on Sunday. My brother gives me money to watch them, but I don't really need it and usually spend it on outings for the three of us. Movies, the zoo, museums, that sort of stuff. I like being the fun aunt. I don't limit what the boys eat. If we're out somewhere and they want a burger or chicken nuggets, they get them. Well, their mom found out that the meals at my home were vegan, and she had a problem with that. So she packed them snacks with meat, little jerky and pepperoni sticks and string cheese. I didn't want that in my house, so I asked her not to do it again, but she did. So I said that until she understood my very simple rules, I will not allow her in the house or watch the kids. She thinks I'm being an idiot because her children need meat, and I should be grateful for the extra money I get to watch my nephews. Once again, I probably spend more on them every weekend than I get from my brother. My parents know how I feel about meat. They know I won't even get a dog or a cat as a pet because they need meat in their diets. My brother has asked me to please return to the way it was. I have no problem with that, but he has to control his woman. Am I the idiot? Edit. Control his woman is just how my brother and I talk to each other. He's often told me to control my man. You are the idiot. If you don't want to babysit anymore, don't babysit. But these are their children and you should respect their wishes. They're not asking you to cook anything. They're providing snacks and asking that you give them to the boys. The boys may have complained to their mom and dad that they're hungry on the weekends and don't like the food served in your house. I also think this is a weird hill to die on. You're fine buying them hamburgers and chicken nuggets when you're out at the zoo with them, but if their mom sends a string cheese with them to be kept in your refrigerator for snacking, that is the absolute end of the world. I disagree. OP's not the idiot. She doesn't want meat in her home. It's her ethical choice. The children aren't being harmed. The parents are free to find someone else to watch them. She offered to watch them for free and spent the money they gave her on outings for the kids. Sounds like the best game in town. I'm not a vegan, but I don't see anything wrong with her asking them to respect her wishes a few days a week. She also said that she's been feeding the kids vegan meals for some time before sister-in-law decided this was the fight she wanted. I think everyone's the idiot here. Both parties should end the babysitting arrangement if they can't come to an agreement for the good of the children. I simply think it's a weird line to draw that you claim to have no problem as a vegan serving up hamburgers and chicken nuggets to your nephews while on outings, but throw a hissy fit at the idea of a string cheese sitting in your refrigerator. And the "he has to control his woman" line at the end. Gross. My girlfriend, 34, and I, 31 male, share a flat. And for the last few years, my girlfriend has stored a can of Coke with her name in one of our shared bookshelves. This morning I discovered that the can had started to leak, most likely due to temperature variations I'd assume, and while cleaning it up I noticed that one of my books was ruined. When I showed my girlfriend the leak and the damage to the book, she basically said, "What a pity." I didn't press the subject immediately, but a few hours later I told her that it would have been nice to hear her say that she was sorry that my book was ruined. However, she refused to and claimed it wasn't her fault as she couldn't have expected the can to start leaking. I kinda agree in the sense that I wouldn't have expected the can to start leaking either. Still, I just know that if the situation were reversed, something I owned somehow damaged one of her books, I would be mortified and thinking very hard about how I could replace the book or otherwise make it up to her. When I told her so, she told me that she thought I was out of my mind if I expected an apology for what happened. I know this is a minor issue, but I'm annoyed at how she completely refused to see my point of view. Since she wasn't receptive at all, I told her we would talk about it later, and she said something along the lines of, "Let's not, it's not worth it for the BS." Now I'm even angrier and we're not on speaking terms right now. Am I overreacting? Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Of course no one expected the can to leak, and this was an accident. But you know what? When you're cohabiting with someone and you ruin one of their belongings, you apologise, even when it's an accident. Her attitude shows a total lack of respect for you and your things. Do you really want to be with this person? Please think about how she treats you in other areas of the relationship. Does she often disrespect you? If she didn't expect a soda can to leak, she didn't do the bare minimum of a 3-second Google search. Soda cans are pressurized, made of the thinnest aluminium possible, and have intentional weak points to allow for easy opening. They eventually leak. Some earlier than others, but I think this has to be a warning to others. If you have a saved unopened can of soda, it might leak. The people who collect can drain them from the bottom. I got a custom-wrapped Coca-Cola bottle from the Vegas Coca-Cola store when I was like 7, and I had it on my bookcase for probably 12 years, and I never once thought, what if it leaks? I don't know, maybe I'm an idiot, but I wouldn't have thought to Google anything about it. It just sat next to my books, and I moved a few houses with it too. I just wrapped it in newspaper like any of my glass and breakable knickknacks. When people can't apologise for a small thing, that's a big red flag to me. It costs literally nothing to say, "Sorry, I feel bad that happened," even if it's not 100% your fault. I couldn't agree more. I can't believe people are just disregarding the fact that she has no remorse, sympathy or empathy for his possessions. That's a huge red flag. OP, this was important to you. She decided it's just BS but expects you to get over it rather than say sorry. You both seem stubborn, and this may be about more than the book and a soda can. A couple of months ago, my brother told me he'd been dating a guy and wanted to bring him as his guest to my wedding. My wedding will be a very small and intimate event with only my family and close friend and my fiancée invited. So I asked who this guy was, and he wasn't anyone I'd ever met before. My fiancée and I had taken care to only invite the people we were closest to, and I really didn't want someone I'd never even met before there. My brother wasn't happy. He said it was the perfect opportunity to introduce his new boyfriend to the family. I said my wedding wasn't for that, it was for celebrating my marriage. To compromise, I suggested he plan a family dinner and bring his boyfriend to that. Once the dinner was over, I'd have met the boyfriend, so I'd probably feel more comfortable going to the wedding. My brother agreed. I followed up with him a week later, asking when the dinner was, and he asked me to schedule it. I said I was in the middle of planning a wedding, and I felt he needed to schedule it. I followed up later, and he said he needed to figure out what day would work. He never brought it up after that, nor did I because I was so busy. My wedding is next week and my brother still wants to bring his boyfriend, but I said no. I don't want a stranger at my wedding. At this point, it's too late to schedule dinner because the next week is booked with wedding activities, and there's no day I'll have time to drive 2 hours to where the rest of the family is. He says I'm being an idiot to not let him bring his boyfriend to the wedding. Am I? Bruh, not the idiot. It's not unreasonable to not want strangers at your wedding, especially if it's a small and intimate affair. Small and intimate affairs are just that. Friends and close family. Not a family reunion, and not a place where you bring people for the first time. This isn't a full-blown wedding. Your brother had plenty of time to meet your completely reasonable request, and it's not on you that he failed to completely plan a simple family dinner. Honestly, I'm starting to think the brother really only wants to sabotage OP's wedding. I have a question. OP, is your brother out? Do most of your family know he's gay? Even if it's known to everyone, you are correct. Your wedding isn't the place to introduce the new boyfriend, and I do believe he wants to use your wedding for this so that the attention will be put on him. OP, is this something he does a lot? Making events that aren't about him be about him. You really need to sit down and talk to your brother about wedding etiquette. Rule number 1, don't deliberately take attention away from the bride and groom. It's not just wedding etiquette, it's an event planned around the celebration of another person. Don't announce your engagement at someone's birthday. Don't announce your divorce at someone's graduation party. Don't announce your pregnancy at someone's funeral. Don't announce your medical diagnosis at someone's baby shower. It's not your event.